Hi, Genki Call here with your Soulforge offerings for the week of July 25th, 2022. Before we go over the troops, I want to show you King Ollie's amazing list of troops, Soulforge mythics remaining in this particular cycle. I will have a link to this in the description below, but I wanted to show it to you first because every week I have been forgetting to show it. So that we've got some good things coming up still in this cycle. We've got um, the Grey King, the Possessed King, the Scourge of Honor. We just go over the list. If there's something that you want more, don't spend your diamonds this week. But let's go over what is in the Soulforge. And they are here somewhere. Hold on. All right, first of all, the legendaries. So we've got Emperor Corvash, who does true damage to the first two enemies, stuns them, and drains their mana. He's a useful troop, but there are so many other things that can be used at this point. Well, for all of these, I would not recommend any of these legendaries. I don't think any of them are worth 800 diamonds unless you have extra diamonds to spare and desperately need them, one of them for a power level. That's the only reasons I would say to craft any of these. Chief Stronghorn pulls an enemy to first place, does damage to them boosted by attack, life, and armor. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, so if you've got a lot of attack, life, and armor, that can still do a bit of damage, but in general, he doesn't get utilized very often because there are troops that do it better. And Matron Dragatani, she is a pain to fight because she has spell damage reduction by 75%. No skull damage reduction, but spell damage reduction is really can be really annoying to fight. She creates 6 blue gems straight up, even if she's webbed, boosted by frozen enemies, so an extra 2 blue gems for every frozen enemy, and does damage to the first and last enemies, boosted by blue gems. So is it a double ×2 ratio? There's a boost here and here? Interesting. But she doesn't freeze anything. You'd have to run her with something that freezes. And then Smashed Mouth from Zacian. Deals damage to an enemy, knocks them to the back, drains 7 mana from all enemies. Even if he's webbed, he'll do this part. It's just the purple number that gets affected by web. And gains an extra turn. And he bleeds and silences the first enemy when he does skull damage. So if you can get some skulls in and silence them, that could be useful. But again, I don't feel it's worth 800 diamonds. Those are much better spent on weapons and mythics. Yeah, I'm getting close to 4,000 again, but I'm going to be spending them on weapons. Ha 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 ha. Always here, always here, always here. So these two are always here. Famine. I don't have it, obviously, so I can't say much about his usefulness. I've heard that he used to be really useful. He does drain mana from all enemies. That is very useful. Damage to one enemy boosted by the mana drained. So you're draining from every enemy. Multiply by 2, add that to this number, and that could do a good fair bit of damage. However, the thing is about Famine is that he's an apocalypse troop. There is no kingdom for apocalypse, which means you're not boosting your power levels anywhere by getting this troop. The apocalypse troops, in my opinion, should be the last thing that you're going for. You should get all of the apocalypse troops, followed by Xathenos should be the very last thing that you craft. Again, you're not going to get any. Xathenos is always in here. You're not going to get you're not going to get any boost to your kingdoms by getting these troops. Always here, and Rage Kurandara always here. So the ones that aren't always here. Pharaoh Nefertani from Qatar. Damage to an enemy boosted by death mark to enemies, curse and disease all enemies. And she death marks on March 4s, which you would think would be awesome. But you actually want to run her, if you have her, on a team that does not get a lot of match 4s, because every time she death marks something, if it was already death marked, it gets death marked again. It resets the counter, and that means that it's not ever going to take effect. If you're death marking the same thing over and over again, it's going to reset the counter. It won't take effect the first turn. So every time you reset it, it's like not having a death mark there at all. So you actually want to make sure that you don't have a lot of match force with this troop, which is very interesting. So this damage that she does, it is boosted by 10 for every death marked enemy. So if all 4 of them are death marked, you'd get an extra 40 damage there. But still, I don't use this troop. I mean, she is a necromancer, but there are better necromancers out there to run with your teams. Dao, I don't have. Can't say much about him. But he's like Shabanu Vespera, but less useful. Shabanu is awesome because you can loop with her. He's not creating gems, he's destroying gems. So that's getting mana for your team, but there's no looping capability unless you happen to have, when you destroy those gems, that the gems happen to fall in place to create match 4s. And it's eliminating from a random skill. I'm not fond of that type of thing because it could be magic, yay, it could be attack, armor, life, it could be any of those things, and I'm just not fond of that type of thing. It works with Shabanu because she loops and anything she does is going to help, but just not fond of this. And then can summon a Servant of Tao when matching 4+ gems, so if you have an extra slot open, he can fill it. Ullor, though. Ullor is incredibly useful for Guild Wars, specifically for fighting tome teams. And I think I did a mythic spotlight on him. I'm not sure that I did. If I didn't, I will put some anti-book teams in the description. Relle was the one that really noticed the potential for this guy. And the reason he's so helpful with the book teams, because he's going to eliminate attack from the first 2 enemies. And so the book creates a bunch of skulls. If you're taking away their attack, the skulls can't do much. And then he's taking magic from the last 2 enemies. Usually the book is in the 3rd position. So you're going to take away the scatter damage too. So basically you're just completely castrating the other team when you're using Ullor, when you have this double attack magic thing going on like with the book teams. So I need to remember to put that at the end, and I tend to forget these things. So if I forget, let me know, but I am writing down the word book, so I will remember to look that up. All right, so yeah, he's very useful. But again, remember the list from King Ollie. And if there's something that you want more coming up this mythic cycle, then save your diamonds. If there's not something else coming up this mythic cycle, you are going to have enough time to build up more diamonds. So anyway, that's what we have for mythics. This guy's always here as well. For weapons, the Eye of Zathinos, the Soul of Zathinos, those are always here. I'm weapon blocked in Blighted Lands, so I'm really, really happy to see this stuff coming in here. I'm really glad we're in Blighted Lands because I want to get my power level up. It's a magic kingdom. All right, so this is one of the cheap ones, 75 diamonds. Damage to an enemy, double damage if there's a firestorm and creates a firestorm. Of course, if you're running with something that already has, like starts out with a firestorm or sun spear, you're always going to do double damage. And I don't know what the upgrades are because I can't look. I don't own it yet, so let's craft that. Yay! All right, next up, we have Death Spire, which will deal damage to all enemies, boosted by all enemy towers. I actually didn't know this existed, so ×8. This could actually be useful during invasion events when we have 4 towers that we're fighting. I'd have to test it out, but it's interesting. Anyway, I have to craft it. I gotta have all the weapons. Must have all weapons because I'm weapon blocked. I don't need all of these weapons, but I'm gonna craft all of them anyway because I don't want to get weapon blocked again. So Soul Reaper, damage to an enemy boosted by Blighted Lands allies, then creates a mix of 6 red and purple gems for each Blighted Lands ally. That can be great if you're running all Blighted Lands. Red and purple are very prominent in the kingdom. Would I ever use it? I probably not, unless I was doing an event that required a Blighted Lands weapon. But next up is the Scythe of Blight. Another one of the cheap weapons, yay. Remove all red gems, which is great if you're trying to deny red to your enemy. You don't get any mana out of it. Damage to an enemy, one enemy, boosted by the gems removed. If they're from Blighted Lands, or if the battle is in Blighted Lands, deal double damage. Love that they've added that to these epic weapons. I'm crafting this. And the last one is brand new, Desdemona's Bolt. So we have a double buff for Desdemona this week. We have this weapon, and we have Desdemona's Familiar, the pet rescue for Wednesday. Deal damage to an enemy. If Desdemona is on my team, inflict 2 stacks of bleed. I would never use this. However, at low level, the bleed can be very powerful. Yes, as you can see here, it's max of 4 stacks. If you have 4 stacks of bleed on an enemy, that's 10 true damage a turn. It can be really useful at low level, but otherwise, still, I must have it. I must have all weapons. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Just crafted it. Always here. Always here. Yep. Oh, the Doomed Staff. The Doomed Staff is in here. Would I recommend crafting it? 900 diamonds? No. There is a YouTuber, is it Crisp? Somebody that really loves these staves. But the problem, staves. The thing is about these staff weapons, the Doomed Staff weapons, is that you have to have them maxed out for them to truly be useful. And to do that, you have to have red forge, or for this, in this case, it's a red forge scroll, right? Red. You have to have red forge scrolls for this. I don't have any red forge scrolls at all, I don't think. You can only get them 2 ways: by doing the Tower of Doom events, and by which come around like every 11 or 12 weeks only, and then the other way to get them is to craft them, and they're expensive to craft. I'll show you. Since we're done with this part of the video, yes, I just got that. The Forge Scrolls are here. Usually you're going to want to spend your writs on Imperials, because the Imperials are so hard to get. I've never spent any of these, so that's why I can craft 19 of them. But yeah, I mean, they're just not as expensive as the Imperials, of course, but still, they add up. And as I said, you're going to want to spend those on Imperials, generally speaking, to get your power levels, not power levels, your kingdom levels up. Anyway, that's what I have for you for the Soulforge for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye!